Welcome to Missing Persons Archives, a channel dedicated to sharing real stories of those who vanished without a trace. Here, we explore the facts, the timelines, the investigations, and the unanswered questions behind each disappearance. These are more than cases, they are people, and every story deserves to be told. Subscribe and join us as we shine a light on the missing. In the world of missing persons, there are countless cases that defy logic, stretch the boundaries of what we understand, and leave behind haunting questions. But few cases are as layered, controversial, and internationally mysterious as the disappearance of 15-year-old Emanuella Orlandi. It didn't happen in some remote wilderness, not in the middle of a dark, rural highway. It happened in Vatican City, arguably one of the most sacred and secure places in the world. And yet, in the summer of 1983, a young girl vanished without a trace, setting off a decades-long mystery that would entangle the Vatican, the mafia, international terrorists, and even whispers of the supernatural. This is the strange and still unsolved disappearance of Emanuella Orlandi. Emanuella Orlandi was a typical teenager by all accounts, musically gifted, family-oriented, and a citizen of Vatican City. Her father worked within the papal household as a lay employee, organizing events for the Pope. Living within Vatican City made her one of a very small number of people who could say they were actual citizens of the sovereign state. She was in her second year of high school and regularly attended music classes 3 times a week in central Rome. On June 22, 1983, Emanuella left home for one of those lessons. Before class, she phoned her sister to say she was running late. She had just spoken to an Avon representative about a potential part-time job. That's the last time her family would hear her voice. After the music lesson, a classmate reported walking with Emanuella toward a bus stop when a green BMW pulled up. Emanuella climbed into the passenger seat and was never seen again. Her family grew worried almost immediately when she didn't return home, but the local police didn't share their urgency. Authorities initially treated it as a teenage runaway case. Despite Emanuella never showing a history of such behavior, police suggested she was likely with friends and would return shortly, but she didn't. Her desperate family began printing posters, contacting newspapers, and placing ads, including their home phone number, in hopes someone would come forward. What followed was a series of increasingly strange, cryptic, and disturbing phone calls from anonymous individuals who claimed to have seen or even spoken to Emanuella. On June 25th, 3 days after her disappearance, a man identifying himself as Pierluigi called the family. He claimed to have seen a girl matching Emanuella's description near Piazza Navona, going by the name Barbarella. She allegedly told him she had run away from home with money from selling Avon. The next caller, Mario, claimed he was a bar owner who had seen a girl matching Emanuella's photo. She, too, called herself Barbara and said she'd return for her sister's wedding. Then the calls took a dark turn. A man with an American accent began contacting the family and press, demanding the release of Mehmet Ali Aka, the man who attempted to assassinate Pope John Paul II in 1981. He claimed Emanuella had been kidnapped by a terrorist group and was being held as leverage. This so-called American even played what sounded like Emanuella's voice over the phone and sent proof, photocopies of her sheet music, and a note allegedly in her handwriting. Soon, another call came in from someone with a Middle Eastern accent, also claiming to represent the same group. This man gave the Vatican 20 days to release Aka, or Emanuella would be killed. But the Vatican refused to negotiate. The deadline passed. The calls stopped. For decades, the case remained cold, but not forgotten. Over the years, several theories emerged, some chilling, others deeply conspiratorial. One of the earliest theories came directly from Aka himself. He insisted Emanuella had been abducted by the Grey Wolves, a Turkish ultra-nationalist group he belonged to. He later claimed she was still alive, living in a cloistered convent. Another theory pointed fingers at the Vatican bank and Archbishop Paul Marcinkus, who had been involved in major financial scandals around the same time. Emanuella's father had reportedly discovered information that could have implicated powerful figures in wrongdoing. Then came the mafia theory. Antonio Mancini, a former member of the Banda della Maliana crime syndicate, claimed the kidnapping was orchestrated by the mafia to pressure the Vatican into repaying large debts. The group's ties to the Vatican Bank and the suspicious death of banker Roberto Calvi, God's banker, found hanging under Blackfriars Bridge in 1982, added fuel to this theory. In perhaps the strangest twist of all, anonymous calls claimed that Emanuella's body had been buried in the crypt of notorious gangster Enrico De Pedis, who had been buried, astonishingly, in a prestigious basilica reserved for high-ranking clergy. When De Pedis' tomb was finally opened in 2012, investigators found his body impeccably dressed in a suit and tie, and surrounding him over 200 boxes of human remains. None were Emanuella's. Perhaps the darkest allegation came from Father Gabriele Amorth, the Vatican's chief exorcist for decades. In 2012, he publicly claimed that Emanuella had been kidnapped and used in sex parties involving high-ranking Vatican officials and foreign diplomats. When they were done, he claimed, she was murdered. The Vatican never responded to his claims. That silence only deepened suspicions. Many believe, even if the Vatican wasn't directly responsible, it did everything it could to slow the investigation, stall progress, and protect its reputation. Over the years, alleged sightings of Emanuella have been reported across the globe, from Germany to the Middle East. All remain unverified. In 2018, the Vatican agreed to open 2 19th-century tombs after a new tip claimed Emanuella was buried there. Both tombs were empty. Despite all the speculation, interviews, theories, and official investigations, no one has ever been charged. No body has ever been found, and no one has ever offered definitive proof of what happened to Emanuella Orlandi. To this day, the case remains one of Europe's most enduring and haunting cold cases. So what really happened to Emanuella Orlandi? Was it a tragic case of a runaway gone wrong? A political pawn in a high-stakes power game? A victim of something much darker, hidden deep within the Vatican walls? We may never know, but what we do know is that her family still seeks answers. Her story still matters, and the truth, whatever it may be, deserves to come to light. If you have thoughts on this case or believe you've uncovered something that could add to the investigation, we invite you to share in the comments below. And if you have a missing persons case you'd like to see featured here, let us know. Thank you for watching Missing Persons Archives. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep searching.